Okay, so you're interested in Helius Medical Technologies.
They're certainly an interesting company.
Yeah, they're aiming to, well, kind of revolutionize neurological wellness.
With their Pawn S device, right?
Right. Imagine brain stimulation helping people regain mobility.
After things like strokes or MS.
Exactly. That's the future Helius is working towards. But
Big question is,
yeah,
does it make sense as an investment?
that's what we're here to find out. We're going to be taking apart their business model.
Looking at the leadership,
Yep. And the financials too.
by the end, you'll know if Helius is worth your attention.
But
First, some background.
yeah, what is this Pawn S device and how does it actually work?
So the Pawn S device is this non-surgical portable device. It uses a specific type of neuromodulation
Neuromodulation.
called translingual neurostimulation.
Okay, so break that down for us.
Basically, it's placed on the tongue,
Yeah,
and it delivers these gentle electrical impulses.
on the tongue.
Yeah, and travel up the cranial nerves to the brainstem and cerebellum.
And those are important for...
Crucial, yeah, for balance, coordination, and movement.
So the idea is...
The idea is that by stimulating these areas...
with the device.
the Pawn S device, used alongside physical therapy, it can help retrain the brain and improve those lost functions.
So it's not just like masking the symptoms.
No, it's actually promoting what we call neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself and adapt.
So it's like giving your brain a workout
Exactly.
to help it recover and relearn.
Oh,
Okay, so let's dive into the business model. What's the strategy at Helius Medical Technologies?
so they're focused on developing and commercializing this Pawn S device
Let's
for
see.
all sorts of neurological conditions that affect balance and gait.
Right.
Initially, their target has been people with multiple sclerosis, but they're looking at other applications too. Stroke rehabilitation, traumatic brain injury.
Parkinson's.
Yeah, even Parkinson's. Their model relies on a combination of device sales and ongoing treatment programs,
Which include...
which include physical therapy and personalized training with the Pawn S.
I think it's really interesting how they're combining this cutting-edge technology with a more holistic approach.
Definitely.
It's not just about the device, it's about supporting patients,
A comprehensive program.
Yeah. But obviously, a company can't succeed without strong leadership. What about the management team at Helius?
Well, Dane C. Andriff became CEO in 2021.
So he's been leading
A
during
critical period of growth, yeah.
and his background is in,
Medical device commercialization.
which is pretty crucial for a company like Helius.
Definitely. They're navigating, regulatory approvals, market adoption.
Complex stuff,
And he's been actively exploring what they call strategic alternatives for the company.
which could be.
Partnerships, licensing agreements, or even acquisitions.
That's interesting. So it sounds like they're thinking carefully about maximizing shareholders' value.
Proactive leadership is generally a good sign.
Speaking of challenges, though, let's look at the financial health of the company. How are their financials? Are they profitable?
Well, that's where things get a little tricky.
Okay.
Helius currently has a market cap of $3.70 million.
Which is...
Relatively small for a medical device company, yeah. And while they have generated some revenue from the Pawn S device, not consistently profitable.
Not yet.
In fact, they're currently operating with negative gross margins,
Meaning
meaning it costs them more to produce and sell the device than they're making back.
that's a bit of a red flag for investors, right?
Yeah, it definitely raises some questions.
Innovative technology is great, but it has to be commercially viable in the long run.
Exactly. So the question is, can they turn things around?
Do they have the resources to face these challenges
Yeah.
and eventually become profitable?
They do have some cash on hand, which gives them some breathing room. Their revenue is declining, so there are questions about their ability to fund research and development.
Which is so important in this field.
Absolutely. To stay ahead, you need to innovate.
So it seems Helius is at a crossroads.
A critical juncture, yeah.
They have this amazing technology, but...
The financials are a bit shaky.
Yeah. And I know you want to know if Helius is a buy, sell, or hold.
We'll get there.
But we need to look at market sentiment, their ownership structure, and do a risk assessment.
All that's coming up. But first, we want to remind you.
To check out the links to all the sources we used.
They're in the description below.
And while you're there,
Let us know what other companies or stocks you'd like us to analyze.
we're always looking for new deep dives.
Like Helius.
When we come back, we'll uncover how the market views this company, who owns a piece of it, and what risks and opportunities lie ahead.
Stay tuned.
All right, so let's see how the market feels about Helius Medical Technologies. Yeah. What's the overall sentiment?
It's a little mixed, to be honest. Analysts seem to see potential, but there's also a good bit of skepticism.
What's making them hesitant? Is it just the financials we talked about?
The financials are definitely part of it. Investors want to see that Helius can, turn their tech into actual profits. But there's another big factor at play here.
What's that?
Insurance. Specifically, coverage and reimbursement for the PON and S device.
Right, because even the most amazing device won't get very far if patients and doctors can't afford it.
Exactly. And recently, there have been some developments that have added to that uncertainty.
Like what?
Well, for example, CMS, that's the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, they actually deferred a decision on reimbursement payments for a part of the PONS system.
Oh, wow. So that's a setback for sure. Makes you wonder, who's really in charge at Helius and what their vision is for the company long term. Maybe we should talk about their ownership structure. Who are the major players here?
That's an interesting aspect of Helius. Their ownership is actually pretty dispersed.
Meaning?
Both insiders, so, company executives and board members and institutions like big funds, they all hold relatively small percentages of the company's shares.
So no one has a controlling interest. What does that mean for, their decision-making?
Well, it can be good and bad. On one hand, it means no single entity has too much sway, which can be good for corporate governance.
Okay, so more balanced decision-making.
Right. But it also means larger investors could come in and acquire a big chunk of the company if they think it's promising.
Which could lead to changes, potentially.
Exactly. Changes in management, maybe even strategic direction.
That would definitely create uncertainty for the existing shareholders.
It's a high-risk, high-reward situation. So we've got a company with game-changing tech, a leadership team exploring options, shaky financials, and an ownership structure that's, a bit unpredictable.
To figure out if Helius is a good investment, we got to assess the risks. Time for a SWOT analysis.
Always a good tool. Let's start with the strengths. What's Helius doing well?
Their biggest strength is, the PONS device itself. It's a unique technology, patented too, and it addresses a really big need.
Definitely.
There are so many people dealing with balance and gait issues, and there aren't a lot of good non-invasive options out there.
Right, and beyond just the device, they have a strong intellectual property portfolio, patents protecting their work.
And being first to market is a huge plus.
Gives them a head start in building your brand, establishing themselves as leaders in this field.
Those are some serious strengths. But we got to be realistic. What are some weaknesses that could hold them back?
Yeah, we can't ignore the challenges. And honestly, some of their weaknesses are pretty big. Those financial issues we mentioned, the negative margins, declining revenue, those are real concerns.
Those financial issues really make you question if they can, grow their operations, fund more R&D, and actually become profitable in the long run.
And then there's the whole issue of insurance coverage and reimbursement for the PONS device. It's going to be tough for them to reach a lot of patients without that.
It's like they need sales to get investors and better reimbursement deals, but they need better reimbursement to actually get those sales.
It's a tough spot to be in. Plus, they have to worry about external threats, things outside their control.
Right.
The medical device industry, it's incredibly competitive and heavily regulated. They're up against giant companies with, tons of money and experience.
Oh, and the constant threat of new technology. Yeah. Someone could come up with a better, cheaper, or easier treatment.
Disruption is always a risk. Helius is definitely playing in a high-stakes game. But of course, every challenge can also be an opportunity. What could they take advantage of to succeed?
Well, the market itself is growing. As the population ages, neurological disorders are becoming more common. Unfortunately, that means there's a bigger need for their technology.
Right. It's a sad truth. But as more people experience mobility issues, the demand for treatments like the PONS will just increase. And there's a growing preference for non-invasive treatments.
People want alternatives to surgery or medication, especially when it comes to the brain.
And that plays right into Helius's strengths.
It's almost like a perfect storm of market forces working in their favor. And they could even, use their tech for completely new applications, expand into new markets.
Absolutely. Think about areas like sports medicine. Athletes are always trying to improve balance and coordination.
Or even the military.
Yeah, where physical function is so critical.
Those are some interesting possibilities.
Right.
So where does this leave us? Is Helius a buy, sell, or hold?
That's the big question, right? We've covered a lot, but remember, this is just the beginning of your research.
Definitely check out the links to all our sources. They're in the description below.
Do your own digging, form your own opinion.
And while you're down there, let us know what other companies or stocks you'd like us to analyze. We're always open to suggestions.
The tech is exciting, but they need to get their finances in order. Pay attention to any progress on those reimbursement issues and any strategic moves they make.
Oh, and they secured that FDA breakthrough designation for PON-S for stroke treatment a few years ago. That's got to be a good sign, right?
Definitely a significant step, especially since, gait and balance problems are so common after a stroke.
That FDA designation could be huge if they play their cards right. And if you enjoyed this deep dive,
Hit that subscribe button.
and turn on those notifications so you don't miss our next episode.
We've got plenty more exciting companies in tech to explore.
And before we sign off, remember,
This was all based on publicly available info and research as of January 23rd, 2025. It's for informational purposes only, not investment advice.
always consult with a financial advisor before you make any decisions.
And a quick note on transparency. We did use AI tools to help us summarize and analyze the research, but humans were in charge the whole time, making sure everything is accurate and high quality.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Helius Medical Technologies. We appreciate your time and curiosity.
We'll see you next time.
Keep learning, keep exploring, and keep diving deep.